Hi guys, it's Paula and I hope you are doing well. This is going to be another update for Pan in Every Palette. This is a large group collaboration that was kind of spearheaded by my girl, Lady Pans a Lot, over on Instagram. I will have her channel linked down below along with everyone that's in this collab together. I hope you check them all out and see how they're doing. They are making some good headway in their palettes. The whole point of this project is to hit pan in every palette that we have, with the hopes of getting some more use out of our makeup. I love Pan That palette. You guys know I love Pan That palette. I'm horrible at it, but I still do it even though I'm horrible at it because I love it so much. But when you're panning a palette, you have to kind of zero in on those specific products until they're gone. This project allows me to explore more of my makeup and enjoy some products that I probably have bought but have never really used before, because I have so much makeup that I've bought but I've never used. And basically everything I have put in this project so far was pretty much untouched at the time that I put them in this project. I am working on 4 palettes at a time. I've designated a shadow to try and hit pan on, but if I hit pan on any shadow within that palette, I will roll it out and roll in a new one so that I'm always working on 4 palettes at a time. I am unbelievably excited to tell you guys that I have 2 new pans to show you today. Apparently that's the way I work. I go a year without hitting pan and then I hit 2 within the same month, because that's what happened last time too. After doing this project for about a year and a half now, I have finally hit 4 pans of eyeshadow in this project. It's nothing. There are others doing this project that have hit like 20 or 30 pans, but I move slow. I'm a little turtle, just kind of creeping along, and that's the way it works. So let's talk about the 2 palettes that I hit pan on. If you guys have been following along with this project, I don't think they'll be a surprise at all. Or if you've been following me on Instagram, I don't think it'll be a surprise. The first pan I hit was from the 6-pan e.l.f. Aqua Beauty palette in the shade Cool Mist. It's all blues and browns. And here is my pan right there. 28 uses. It took me 28 uses to hit pan on this, which is pretty comparable to how long it takes me to hit pan on a Super Shock shadow from ColourPop. I thought it would take less. I always do. I thought it would take less than 28, but 28 uses was the magic number. I did get some use out of this shadow. There's a little dip going in there. I also got some good use out of these 2 bottom shades. I really enjoyed both of these quite a bit, but this is the one I had decided to hit pan on, and I did. I am a little bit disappointed in this formula. Unlike Super Shock shadows, these do not stay put. They will travel to my crease and kind of gather in my crease area throughout the day, regardless of what I use as a base, regardless of what other steps I take, topping it with a powder. I've tried it all. It still bunches in my crease. So that's a little bit disappointing. I do not have that problem with Super Shock shadows from ColourPop. That being said, these colors are very nice. I really liked these 2 bottom colors very much. I really liked, ironically, I liked every color except for the one I hit pan on. So this one was kind of blah. I used it basically as an eyeshadow base for a lot of my looks, and that's how I got the 28 uses. So this is rolling out of the project. I hit pan, it's moving out. A lot of you guys have asked me what I'm going to do with this palette. For now, the answer is nothing. It's gonna go back in the office. I will sleep on that for a while and make a decision at a later point. I don't know, but I'm really glad to have hit pan and to be rolling it out of this project. The next palette I hit pan on this morning, which is sometimes how it works. And that eyeshadow comes from my ColourPop Element of Surprise palette. The eyeshadow I was trying to hit pan on is this guy right here. And it is gonna be hard to see. You're gonna need to get your magnifying glass out. Oh, you see it? There it is. I've been wearing this eye look every single day for the past week, working to hit pan on that eyeshadow, and it finally happened this morning. I've been calling this look my quarantine chic look. It's subtle enough that if I walk out of the door and see some neighbors, they're not like, what are you doing? And I still feel very pretty. And it's very neutral, and I love neutral eyeshadows. Guess how many times I use this palette before hitting pan on it. You're not going to believe it. For reference, the reason I put this specific eyeshadow into this project is because another person in this collaboration, Lindsay, asked if it was normal when she hit pan on this eyeshadow after 16 uses. 16, right, Lindsay? I think it was 16 uses you hit pan on that eyeshadow. It took me 63 uses before I hit pan on it. And that's like the tiniest speck of pan ever. I actually think I'm gonna keep this in my bathroom until the pan gets just a little bit larger. I just want it to be slightly more noticeable, so I want to use it a few more times before I put it back in the office. But yeah, 63 uses. I'm really glad I did work on that eyeshadow though. I absolutely loved it. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous crease and transition shade. It has a little bit of pink to it, which I love. I really enjoyed this shadow. I also really enjoyed discovering some of the other shadows in this palette. These two matte ones here in particular were delightful little surprises. I really enjoyed them. I also used this gold one in a look in the past month. Really nice palette. I would love to come back around to this sooner rather than later because it's wonderful. All right, there are two palettes still in this project that I have not yet hit pan on, so they will be rolling over for another month. The first one is my Pat McGrath La Vie in Rose palette, and I am trying to hit pan on this shade right here. I did use it one time as a lower lash line eyeshadow in the past month, but that's really the only use I got out of this palette during the month of March. That's too bad. No dips, nothing really happening. It still looks pretty brand new. And I have my Natasha Denona Green Brown palette. The shadow I'm trying to hit pan on is right here. It is called Moonstone. How come I don't know that by now? Yes, it is called Moonstone. I used this 6 times in the last month. There's a little bit of a dip going in the middle. I'm wearing it all over my lid today. I've been wearing it all over my lid, obviously, for the last 6 days. It's very pretty. I did also use some of these greens during the month. I did a green eye look for my Shopping Our Stash collab. I think I used this brown once or twice. So I have been playing around with the palette since I have it out anyways. But yes, nowhere near hitting pan on this. Still a long way to go. And I only used it 6 times. All right, you guys know what time it is. I get to roll in 2 new palettes to try and hit pan on, and this is obviously the most exciting part of this whole project when I do hit pan and I get to pick a new palette to work on. When I hit pan on the e.l.f. Aqua Beauty palette, 3 palettes came into mind as ones that I would like to work on, and I've been kind of thinking about it for the last few weeks. And in the end, in place of that e.l.f. palette, I decided to go with a blush palette. This is the Makeup Revolution palette. For those of you guys that follow me on Instagram, you know that I finally finished off my powder blush that I'd been working on. And currently, other than a blush that I have in my Project 10 Uses, I am not panning a blush at the moment, which is, I am panning a cream blush, but I'm not panning a powder blush other than one that I have in Project 10 Uses. So I figured now would be the perfect time to work on this palette right here. This is the Revolution, Makeup Revolution London Sugar and Spice palette. I totally bought this because of Emily Noel. It looks like this. There are 6 matte shades and 2 very shimmery, possibly highlighters, blush toppers, call them what you want. This is what it looks like. There are a few reasons why I settled on this palette. One is because this palette intimidates me very much, and the idea of trying to pan this whole palette is a bit overwhelming. But the idea of trying to hit pan on just one shade is appealing. Also, I have mentioned this before, but I've basically panned a peachy pink shade for the last 3 years straight. I've been working on 3 different peachy pink blushes over the last 3 years. I don't know how that worked out that way, but that's the way it worked out, and I'm a little burnt out on peachy pink. And I think that this palette will give me enough variety to keep it interesting. I'm really into these kind of dusty shades right here. This is a bold shade. Here's a more orangey shade, peachy pink, of course, and these highlighter blush topper shades. Yes, you can have a juice box. I am hoping that this will keep it interesting for the next several months and that I will enjoy the variety that this palette provides. I'm also kind of assuming that these are not the deepest pans ever. I don't think Makeup Revolution has the deepest pans ever. So I'm hoping it won't take me forever to hit pan, but we'll see. We'll start tracking the usage. This is a brand new palette. I've had this palette for years, but I have never used it even once. So we're starting from scratch. We're starting at 0. I will track which blushes I use and how many times I use them. For this month, I am not going to pick one shadow to hit pan on. I will explore this palette for the next month, play around with it, see what's calling my name, and by next month, I will pick which shade I want to hit pan on. But I am really, really excited about this. I think when Lady Pans a Lot created this project, her focus was on all of her eyeshadows. She only had 16 eyeshadow palettes at the time, and she did hit pan on all 16 of her eyeshadow palettes last year, and she's working on face products now too. So I think it's perfectly acceptable to bring in a face palette. I have so many eyeshadows in my projects that I don't want to add in too many more eyeshadows. And I need to work on a blush. So this palette is the perfect answer, I think. I'm excited. I'm really excited to start working on this tomorrow. So this is the palette that's replacing the e.l.f. Aqua Beauty palette. So like I said, there were 3 palettes that I was kind of hemming and hawing about as far as what to roll into this project next. The blush palette was one of them. The other 2 palettes were the ABH Subculture palette and the ColourPop Yes Please palette. I'm obviously craving some yellow, and it's not a color I'm currently working on, and it just feels like with this time of year, yellow's kind of calling my name. I think it'll add some interest into the eyeshadows I'm already panning, and yeah, I decided I needed to work on yellow. And after hitting pan on that ColourPop palette this morning, I decided, yes please, it is. So I am rolling in the Yes Please palette in place of the Element of Surprise palette. I'm thinking the shade I'm going to be trying to hit pan on is this matte yellow, but we'll see. Again, I'm going to take this next month to explore this palette, play around with it. Believe it or not, I've never used this palette on my eyes, even once. This is, you know what? This shade does look like it's been used once. Maybe at one point I have used this palette one time, but for the most part, this palette is brand new. I cannot remember the last time I used this palette. I don't remember ever using it, and I've had it for years. That is unacceptable. It is ridiculous. I'm really excited to start working on this palette and to see what kind of looks I can create. I had so much fun with the other ColourPop palette, and I'm really looking forward to using this. So I'm thinking it's gonna be this yellow one, but I'm gonna take the month to play around and make a decision. What a good month for this project, right? I am so excited to have the opportunity to roll some things out and rotate some new things into this project, to breathe some new life into my makeup choices from day to day. I'm very excited. That is going to be it for this update. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.